Hello everyone, my name is Dennis. In case you are watching this for the first time, I'm actually a realtor based in Singapore. For those subscribers of mine, I'm sorry I have been away for almost a week, but without further ado, let me start with what I'm going to share today. I'm actually going to share with you how I use the PURE formula, P-U-R-E, the PURE formula to help my clients to decide whether a particular piece of real estate is actually worth purchasing. All right, so let's get going. All right, now first of all, you have to understand that in Singapore, we divide Singapore into 28 different districts, right? And these 28 districts, they are actually segregated into three regions. So we have the core central region, we have the rest of central region, and we also have the outside central region. So again, all 28 districts fit into all these three regions of Singapore. Okay, now for every region, there is a specific range of entry per square feet, right? So of course, core central region would be the main part of Singapore, right, close to Raffles Place, Orchard Road. For those of you who have been to Singapore, you will probably be familiar with names. So core central region typically have the highest per square feet range, followed by the rest of central region, which is just outside the core central region, and then the outside central region, which is on the outer skirts of Singapore. Okay, now what does P represent? Okay, P represents PSF or price. Now the important thing about Singapore is that whatever you're buying, okay, it's very important that the entry price and the entry per square feet is correct. Okay, having said that, right, sometimes the price may be correct, but then the entry per square feet is wrong. Okay, so for every region of Singapore, core central region, rest of central region, outside central region, there are correct entry per square feet prices and PSF for a specific point of time in the market, in the real estate market in Singapore. That we can also cover in more in detail for another video. Okay, so what does the second letter U, what does U represent? Okay, the letter U represents upside. So what do we mean by upside? Upside usually refers to, for example, if there's a transformation in the specific region you're looking at, because as much as Singapore is small, right, we also look at things from a macro as well as a micro. Micro meaning that you zoom into the specific part of Singapore. Macro, you look at the greater part of Singapore for the specific region. So is there any upside? Is there any transformation? Is there any improvement in infrastructure, transport? Are there any revamp of the entire location? Because some older buildings may be torn down, developed into mixed residential. Some may be there may be some plans for commercial developments, office developments, and all these are signs that a particular location may be able to so-called give so-called potential capital appreciation to owners who actually own real estate properties around that location. So it could also be a future, like for example, if I'm buying something that has a upcoming train station, right, within walking distance, right, that itself is also considered as an upside. Something that really has existing MRT, well, it is a good feature to have, but it's not exactly considered as an upside. It's considered as an existing asset to your current property, right? So upside, is there any things that can actually help to improve the chances of having future capital appreciation, right? Now, next thing will be R, the letter R. What does R represent? R represents risk. Okay, risk can be attributed to, for example, the developer. Although most developers in Singapore are of a reputable nature, and developers in Singapore in general, they are bounded by a lot of strict rules from the Singapore government, by URA, the BCA. So they basically developers' reputation in Singapore is pretty good in general, right? Okay, so of course, risks apart from developer reputation can also be due to, for example, your age, right? And also whether you're buying a new property, a new launch property, new launch condominium or apartment, or you're buying an older resale property. Now, there are risks involved in all of this, right? And also, of course, the thing is that risk also ties in with the letter P, your entry price per square feet, right? So if you have lower risk, basically you must have to understand that risk is inversely proportionate to capital appreciation. So the lower your risk, the higher the potential capital appreciation that you may get, right? So that's R, risk. And then the last letter E. E stands for exit strategy. Now, for people who are buying for own stay, they may stay like, for example, 10 years, 15 years, or even 20 years, right? For people who are buying for investment in Singapore, the minimum period most people will be to actually hold it for 3 years. But as a rule of thumb, what I normally advise clients is that they should at least hold between 5 to 8 years or underneath 10 years, right? So it's more like 5 to 10 years within this time frame, because every cycle in Singapore, on average, based on past historical trends, have been 4 to 5 years, right? Although this has changed a little bit in the sense that it has come to somewhat of 3 years, 3 to 4 years, right? But essentially, is that if you hold it, for example, 10 years, you are basically holding it for at least 2 market cycles. And when that happens, right? So the point of time is that when you buy, right? When you buy is one thing. When you exit is also another thing. Because if you exit at the wrong timing of the market, then if you enter at a very high per square feet, your risk is actually higher because you are actually letting it go at the wrong part of the market cycle, right? So exit strategy, right? Basically for investor and for own stay, they are of course have different so-called number of years of holding power, right? But the thing is that basically is that exit strategy also ties in with the location, what are the amenities, what are the transformation, the upside that I was talking about earlier. So P-U-R-E, pure, right? If there is a specific real estate property that actually takes at least 3 of these 4 letters, right? Then in general, that piece of real estate property is considered as a pretty safe and valued buy, right? So of course there are some that just takes 1 of the letters, some that takes all 4, right? At the end of the day, buying a piece of real estate in Singapore all boils down to individuals, buyers, so-called profile, based on their age, based on their risk appetite, and also based on their holding power. So, but this is the guideline that I always share with my clients. Analyze it through P-U-R-E, pure. Use the pure formula to decide what you should buy and what you shouldn't buy. All right. With that, I end my presentation today on how to use the pure formula to assess whether you should buy a piece of real estate property or not. Then, till the next time, I'll see you again. Goodbye.